At number 3 overall, the Arizona Coyotes select from the U.S. developmental team, Logan Cooley. No. No! No! Welcome back to the party package. My name is Owen. Allow me to introduce myself. I am your host for this video, and you are my viewer. Thank you for clicking on it and watching. Today we are going over the Arizona Coyotes, as introduced in my opening sketch. And this is their season preview, and we have an interesting team here. Yesterday's Anaheim Ducks video is a middle-of-the-pack team. The Anaheim Ducks are a team that could contend for something a little bit. They could be a team that pushes for a playoff spot. And yes, Cat. And they're a team that has a potentiality of something. Coyotes, we all know the case for the Coyotes. They are going to be a bad team. And that's on purpose. They're failing on purpose. They're tanking and to build their future with future picks. And the Coyotes this year, are they going to be better than last year? Just off the start. I think the Coyotes could easily be a better team than last year. They finished bottom of the Central. I think they finished second to last in the season standings. Yes, the second to last in the season standings, which they should have gotten the second overall pick and didn't. But whatever. So the Coyotes are here with a better team. The new additions added have been Boyd was there last year. Nick Bukestad, Troy Stetcher, and John Gillies, and a couple of the new Jack Cashian. Now, those were the NHL already players. This lineup has a lot of questions to it. This team's got a lot of potentiality to change. So right now, I slotted in Barrett Hayton as the center, Keller and Schmaltz on his sides. And I think that this is a solid young gun lineup. Barrett Hayton was the captain of a Team Canadian team. Hayton, to me, is one of those... He's like, in my head, he's kind of like he's a good prospect, but he's not like a stellar one. Like, he could be like a second-line center for a good team eventually one day. Like a second line, that I would say that's his top role, would be a second-line center. But on the Coyotes, he's the first-line center. Travis Boyd actually had not amazing season, but 35 points last year, so he's the second spot. Bukestad used to be okay. He's kind of dropped off, so he's in the third. McBain, he's a rookie. He's one of those Coyotes guys, and he's just going to be slotted down there. Now, there's a few names that are Logan Cooley, Morgan Geekie, and also Lamoureux from the draft. This is Victor Soderstrom on defense. There's a lot of questions about these young players. I don't even know if Soderstrom will play or if he can play. I just put him there as a question because these young players, the ones that are supposed to be starting the future of this franchise, are they ready? Are they not? To me, Logan Cooley could maybe break the squad. I mean, especially a team like the Coyotes that has a lot of not very good players. I could easily see Logan Cooley just being put on like the first or second line. Put Logan Cooley's Travis Boyd's replacement and have him be the second line center for this year. I think that'd be some pretty good potential. And then maybe you just put Geekie in instead of Fisher. You have Geekie, Fisher, and Krause right there. Geekie, Fisher, Krause. That's a fun name. No, not Fisher. Geekie, Cooley, and Krause. That's not all C's. Anyways. There's a lot of ways that they could shape this lineup. Victor Soderstrom, is he ready to play defense for the team this year? And if so, I mean, their left defenseman side, now Chychrun can play on the right, whatever. But, I mean, they got a solid 3 defensemen if Soderstrom's ready to play, and that's good enough to give a passable defense. Dineen, I've seen him. I'm from Arizona. I've seen a lot of games for the Roadrunners. And I've seen a lot of these guys, so like a Laurent Dauphin, I've seen him play. He's got a lot of good plays I've seen him make in person, in the Tucson. And Dauphine could definitely be the type of guy that could have not like a Connor Garland type breakout, but I could definitely see him being a guy that like steps up and he's like, you know what, I'm in a bad team, I'm in a bad situation, I'll take this chance, and maybe I'll score 15, 20 goals this year. You know what I mean? He's the type of guy that I could see grabbing that brass ring and being like, I'm going to go for it. Also, we got Mayo down there, which I love. Gosh to spare Mayo. This defense, on just looking at it on paper, isn't bad. This defense is not the worst in the league by any means. Gosh to spare was great last season. Chychrun, I've always believed Jacob Chychrun could be another Victor Hedman level defenseman. He hasn't been able to crack into that yet, and I don't think he is going to at this point. But I definitely used to see him as a potential amazing defenseman back there. And he is solid regardless if he gets points or not. Troy Stetcher, just an interesting young, not really young anymore, but just a solid defenseman, like an Oli Mata type, just kind of solid, not really special. And Cam Dineen, he had 7 points in I think like 20 or so or less games. He didn't have like the worst points in the world, and Dineen seems good enough. I've seen him in Tucson as well. But the thing about the Coyotes isn't this year. The Coyotes are not thinking about this year is a year where they're going to try. This is another one of those years like last season that's going to be, let's just get through it and have our young guys like Cooley, Geeky, Soderstrom, Hayton start making their way to play NHL level hockey. And that is what this season's all about. But let's just say this. The Golden Knights in their first year, would you say, going into it, the Vegas Golden Knights minus goaltending was better or worse on paper than what's on here? I would dare say that on paper, the Golden Knights were worse than this team looking at it before the season started. This team right here, this top line, this second line, these potential breakout rookies, this defense, and this goaltending, which I haven't got to yet, I, in my head, have all the potential in the world to have a breakout season. I could totally see Clayton Keller stepping up finally last year, kind of breaking out. Maybe he steps up to that next level with a Barrett Hayton in the middle of them. Or maybe Logan Cooley in the middle of them. Nick Schmaltz, he seems to be a pretty solid 50-point scorer. He can keep that up. Someone like a young, good center like Barrett Hayton could be what those two guys need to just make that step up. Their second line, everything below that top line is kind of like a grindy team. Krause, they're in arbitration stuff right now with him, but Lawson Krause has been such a good player for the Coyotes for such a while now. Lawson Krause is like a Timo Meyer, just that doesn't have like a 40-goal scorer potential. He is a solid, like any team that wants to is competing for a cup should try to pick him up at a deadline. I'm surprised no one's done it yet, or maybe they're just not selling him or for way too much, because Krause, in my mind, has all the potential in the world if he's traded to a good, like, say, if Lawson Krause is put, like, on a line with Stamkos and Braden Point or something like that, could easily be a 25-goal scorer. Easily. Krause is a solid player. Now, Boyd, 35 points last year. Travis Boyd, he's not really the best third-line player on any other team. Christian Fischer he has the potential to be a good player. He's not going to be like 20 goals, but he could score you 10 goals. Once again, the problem with the Coyotes is that they're missing a first line of players. This is their first line that would be a good second line in any other team. Their second line is a third line for any other team. Their fourth line doesn't exist, is their third line is a fourth time on another team, and then this line doesn't exist on any other team. This is their scratched players, and that's what the Coyotes' main problem has always been for a while. Is that they don't have those superstar top line. Because imagine up here you add one more line, you minus this, and this is second, third, and fourth. You'd say, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's a solid enough team. And then you put, let's say, the Golden Knights, let's just say, because another desert team. The Golden Knights top line there. Let's say you get Stone, Carlson, and Riley Smith. I know that's not their top line, but whatever. You would say, this team's okay. This team has a chance to maybe make the playoffs. They're not going to win the cup. But they have a chance to make something of themselves. And that's what I see in this team, is that if these guys can make that step forward into being that actual first-line stars that they can be, and then this line, like Fisher and Krause especially, are able to step up and be a solid second line at least, or maybe even Geeky and Cooley, or maybe even Lamoureux could step in and be like, okay, maybe we fill in a spot there, here or there. And that's what I feel like this Coyotes could maybe have. I mean, I know I'm biased because, of course, I'm a fan of theirs. So I didn't hang. This is my jersey. They have the potential to be every year. There's always the breakout team that it's like, whoa, these guys are doing really good. I would not be surprised if the Coyotes in this new building with only 5,000 people or seats in it. I could definitely see the Coyotes going in there, seeing this as like, this is a once in a lifetime type thing. We are on this team. This is crazy. And they go, these guys play hard every night in the ASU arena and just play hard. And the reason why I really think that is a lot of people didn't pick up on this, but being from Arizona, Vejmelka and Prosvetov are amazing goaltenders. Vejmelka had amazing numbers last year for being on the worst team in the league. Vejmelka, it was amazing, and a lot of people didn't pick up on it. But if you watch the if you look up his numbers last season, which I should have looked him up, I'm so stupid I didn't. But his numbers were incredible for what he was having to deal with in front of him. Put it in perspective of his numbers. I think were like a .915 or something pretty good, and that was it with the Coyotes. Imagine him backing up a team like the Devils or something, or backing up a team like Nashville. I mean, UC Saros, I guess, but you know what I'm trying to say, is he had a terrible team in front of him. Now, I know goalies play better and they get better stats when they're put more under pressure, but just imagine if that guy was put under pressure with a good team. Vejmelka could be amazing if this team could just stand up a little bit for him. And Prosvetov, oh my god, this guy, I saw him a lot of times in person in Tucson. He is, in my mind, the best goalie I've ever seen in person. And I've seen quite a few hockey games. And it might sound insane and biased, but Prosvetov seriously is maybe the best goaltender I've seen in person and put on a performance. Other than Darcy Kemper. Other than Kemper, Prosvetov could be another Kemper, where he just kind of shows up and is on a bad team like the Coyotes, does really good, gets some shutouts, gets some good crazy wins, and is picked up by another team that wants to contend for a cup like Kemper did. I would not be surprised in the least, and if that happens, then I called it. And so this year, what are this team's expectations? I feel like they're going to end up in 7th in the Central, because I feel like the Blackhawks are going to fall underneath them, because that team's going to collapse if they get rid of Patrick Kane. If they get rid of Patrick Kane, then the Blackhawks are going to collapse. If they don't, then I'll say that this team ends up in 8th. But I would not be surprised if somehow this team could fight alongside the likes of like the Winnipeg Jets and the Predators and maybe contend for like that 4th place spot. I would not be surprised, but at the same, this team is not going to be number 1 or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if this team gets 4th place in the Central or 8th in the Central. And that's how I'm going to put it. This team is very not good on paper. Defense, I would give it a pass. Goaltending, I would give it a pass, but that's maybe because I see it a certain way. Offense is where everything falls apart. And the real question surrounding this team is, how do the young guys play? Geeky this morning signed a contract, entry-level contract with the Coyotes. So maybe he makes it onto the AHL. Logan Cooley already did, I believe he did. Soderstrom, does he jump up there? There's a lot of questions that we can't have answered yet. The Coyotes this is the final year, I would say, of their rebuild. This is going to be the final year. I bet next year they're going to build up another bunch of draft picks as well, and they're going to try to get another one or two pretty good first round picks. And next year will be the year where if not this year, next year, Cooley and Geeky and maybe Lamoureux will be able to play in the NHL. And this team, I mean, imagine if Cooley and Geeky right now, let's just pretend that they jump ahead 3 years into the future, and Cooley and Geeky are at their potential of Geeky being a great scorer, Cooley being the center. I mean, I could see right now Geeky, Cooley, Keller, and then the second line, Schmaltz, Krause, and whoever at that point. You know what I'm saying? So the Coyotes have a ton of chances right now. If I was the GM, I would totally go for broke this year. And Keller's contract is huge, $7.6 million or something like that, for a lot of money for a guy not making that much, for doing that much. Trade him away, make this an absolutely terrible team, get Connor Bedard at the next draft, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and then maybe in the next few years we finally get up there. I think that's really the big questions that are on this team. My fan just went crazy. That's what I'm looking at. I think this is really where this team is at right now. I think this is really where the Coyotes need to decide. Do they tank right now? Because this is not a finished product. This is Cooley, Geeky, Hayton, Soderstrom. Get a couple more young players, and then next year be a big free agent buyer. Bring in a lot of guys. This is a good team. But this is going to be a bad year again for them. Maybe a breakout year. Probably not. But it's going to be interesting to say the least. So I guess till next time, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you liked it, leave a like, not a dislike, but you can go down below to the comment section where you can leave your opinions, thoughts, opinions. I said that already. Rants, tangents, and other suggestions and feedback and reviews you'd like to put behind about what I had to say. And what do you think? Do you think the Coyotes have maybe a breakout year like the Golden Knights did, or probably not? Thank you for watching, and until next time, I have been the party. Thank you for watching. Ta-ta for now.